What if I told you that remembering our oppression is necessary, but building our identity around it might be the very thing holding us back? Across the African diaspora, from America to the UK, from Africa to the Caribbean, and more, we carry stories of slavery, colonialism, segregation, and migration. They are real and they matter. But when the only lens we use to see ourselves is suffering, we risk shrinking the fullness of who we are. This isn't about forgetting, it's about refusing to make chains the only symbol of our existence. Our collective history is soaked in resilience. Africans ripped from the continent during the transatlantic slave trade. Caribbean people uprooted to help rebuild Britain after World War II. African nations struggling under colonial rule, then fighting for independence. African Americans pushing through Jim Crow and civil rights battles. These legacies are not just pain, they are lessons, warnings, and blueprints. And here's the key: acknowledging this oppression is not optional. To forget it is to dishonor our ancestors. To ignore it is to allow history to repeat. But at the same time, when we make oppression the center of our identity, we risk reducing our entire existence to what was done to us, rather than what we've created and who we can become. Think about it. When your identity is built around oppression, the oppressor still controls the narrative. It's like saying, I exist only because you hurt me. That may be part of the truth, but it's not the whole truth. In the UK, children of the Windrush generation grew up being reminded of the racism their parents faced. In the US, generations carry the weight of slavery and systemic injustice. In the Caribbean, colonial hierarchies still echo in colorism and class divides. In Africa, colonial borders still shape conflict and economies. We must talk about these things, we must study them, we must name them, but they cannot be the totality of who we are. Here's the danger. When oppression becomes identity, we risk internalizing it. Psychologists call it internalized oppression, where we subconsciously adopt the same low expectations placed on us. Instead of becoming who we are destined to be, we limit ourselves to what the world once said we were. Constantly defining ourselves as oppressed can sometimes bond us together, but it can also box us in. If your entire sense of self is tied to struggle, how do you process joy? How do you embrace success? How do you move beyond surviving to thriving? It's like wearing a t-shirt that says, ask me about my trauma. Sure, people will ask, but is that really the headline you want for your life? Remembering our oppression doesn't mean turning it into our identity. Those are two different things. Memory is power. It equips us. It reminds us where we came from, what we've overcome, and what systems still exist that we need to dismantle. It's why teaching accurate Black history matters. It's why Black Americans celebrate Juneteenth in America, Emancipation Day in the Caribbean, Black History Month in the UK, and why African nations honor liberation struggles. But memory without vision becomes a prison. If we hold only pain, we risk forgetting that we are more than what was done to us. Afrofuturism shows us another way, imagining blackness not just as tied to the past, but shaping the future. Think of our music, our art, our inventions, our influence worldwide. Those didn't come from oppression, they came despite it. That's identity, that's power. So here's the message for brothers and sisters across the diaspora. First, remember oppression, teach it, pass it on, analyze it. We must know our history, because knowledge of self is the first step to freedom. That means reading the books they don't teach in school about Africa before colonialism, about resistance movements, about the brilliance of Black inventors and thinkers erased from textbooks. Share those stories with your children, your peers, your community. Support Black archives, Black historians, and cultural centers. When we know the full story, pain and triumph, we stop being manipulated by half-truths. Second, don't wear oppression as your skin. Your identity is more than what the world once did to your ancestors. Practically, this means refusing to limit your ambitions to stereotypes. Whether you're in London, Johannesburg, Kingston, or Chicago, step into spaces they said weren't for you. Start businesses, write books, learn coding, engineering, farming, art, travel to other parts of the diaspora and connect with your global family. By doing so, you prove most importantly to yourself that being black is not just about surviving oppression, but about thriving beyond it. Third, honor the past, but live in the present. The ancestors fought, bled, and sacrificed, not so we would stay in grief, but so we could live. To honor them is not to drown in their pain, it's to carry their resilience forward. Practically, that looks like building wealth instead of only fighting poverty, creating mental health spaces instead of only mourning trauma, supporting black-owned schools, businesses, and initiatives instead of only protesting against oppression. Living in joy is also resistance. It tells the oppressor, you did not break us. Fourth, celebrate the fullness of blackness. Our identity is not a single story. Across the diaspora, we have countless cultures, dialects, foods, and spiritual practices. Celebrate that diversity instead of competing over who has the real black experience. Jamaicans, Nigerians, African Americans, Afro-Brazilians, Black Britons, we are many faces of one global family. Connect through cultural exchange, study the music, art, and languages of different parts of the diaspora. Build networks that cross borders, because global black unity is how we shift power. And here's the deeper truth. Oppression is a chapter in our story, but not the whole book. The full book is survival, brilliance, joy, faith, invention, and creation. Think of reggae, hip-hop, jazz, Afro beats, global sounds born from us. Think of freedom movements in Ghana, Haiti, South Africa, America, the blueprint of resistance. Think of thinkers like Marcus Garvey and Chinua Achebe, voices that shape generations. This is what we add to the world, not just wounds, but wisdom and innovation. So the challenge is simple, but profound. Learn the pain, carry the lessons, but build your identity on the strength. Oppression is part of our history, yes, but let's stop treating it like a Wi-Fi password, something we always have to log into before we can access who we really are. Instead, imagine if our password was words like creation, freedom, or even just joy. That's the access point that unlocks the future. Like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel because deeper truths are still to come. It's Afro Algo. Peace.